Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Ed Begley Jr. Ed, welcome to Popternative. Thank you so much for being here.
Petey, good to be with you, pal.
It's exciting. I mean, for a lot of people that have followed you over your career, you know, for the acting stuff and the storytelling stuff, you've always had a lot of ventures, a lot of projects, a lot of companies as well. Tell us a little bit about what we'd expect. I know, there's a line of cleaning products out right now. You've been pretty busy with a lot of that.
Yeah, I've been busy with that. That's a wonderful line. Begley's Earth Responsible Products. You can get them at Amazon or just about anywhere. Type in Begley Cleaning with your search engine and you'll find them. But I've been doing a lot of acting work too. I was on, Mr. Mayor recently. I had a show called Bless This Mess for a couple of seasons.
Yep.
I'm on Young Sheldon every year. Very lucky to still be working at my advanced years. I never thought I'd still be working at 70-something, but I am. I feel quite blessed.
Did you know that you were going to eventually wear many hats and do a lot of different things, or did it kind of just happen? Like, did you know you were going to act, but also have your own company, dive into a lot of the environmental product line? Like, did you kind of know that was kind of an idea that could have happened, Ed?
No, I just went where the work took me. I wanted to be an actor, and I got into Screen Actors Guild finally in 1967 after trying several times to get a job. I never got any work, because I had no training. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I expected to get a job as a plumber, but I didn't apprentice as a plumber. You know what I'm saying? I finally took some classes. Then in 1967, got my first job. And even that, I didn't quite get the way it worked. I thought, well, the phone's going to ring off the hook now that I'm in Screen Actors Guild. And that didn't happen. So I went, well, I'll be a cameraman. I became an assistant cameraman and worked at that field for a while. Then the acting finally, because I started to apply myself and study a bit, I started to get some jobs as an actor. And I really have been working ever since. I've been very, very lucky for, 50 some odd years, I guess.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Young Sheldon. I love that show. I love your character on that show. I saw an interview you did recently where you were talking about, even before you got on the show, like you were a fan of that show too. That's pretty cool too, where you can like join shows that you enjoy prior to being on them. Yeah,
such a good show. I was a fan of Breaking Bad. I love that show. Vince Gilligan did that wonderful show with Peter Gould, and I got to be on, Better Call Saul for a while there, and whatever, Arrested Development. I was a fan of that show and got to be on that. And so I just feel so lucky that these wonderful people like Chris Guest, he did a movie that I was not in called Waiting for Guffman, which is my favorite of all those improv movies. And then he involved me from Best in Show, I guess, onward. I've been in all of those and very lucky to be in it. So whatever point these talented people call me, I got to ask you, have you seen the show White Lotus?
I'm watching it right now. Absolutely.
Buddy, isn't it brilliant? Or is
it's
it
amazing.
It's so amazing.
It's a slow burn, and I feel like I'm watching and I'm waiting, and something's gonna happen that's just gonna blow everyone's mind. Like I'm waiting. Like it's like a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, what happens in the way to where stuff begins to happen is I might be a little ahead of you, and some big stuff does happen. But you got these actors like Jennifer Coolidge, who's so brilliant, doing this incredible work, and she's in all those Chris Guest movies too, as you probably know.
Yeah,
and she's such a great actress. I'm just, amazed at the level of work that's being done in TV today. When I was a young man, my dad worked a lot in live TV and TV. They called it the golden age of television, and I think it was. But now I think we're in the platinum age of television.
Yeah,
with people like, Mike White, who's doing White Lotus, and Arrested Development, with Mitch Hurwitz, and you got Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan doing Better Call Saul after they did, Breaking Bad. I mean, amazing stuff. There's great work being done in television now, don't you think?
It's interesting. That was what I was going to ask you too, because it is they're saying now is like the golden age of platinum. That's very interesting, Ed, that you say that. I mean, you were on, like I said, like you mentioned some shows, but like St. Elsewhere is like my parents still think that's like one of the best shows of all time, and that
Bless you.
Yeah, and that was part of the that could be considered mecca television. That show started a lot of careers and everything. But does it blow your mind that shows like that don't really have a shelf life anymore? Like people can kind of find clips of it. Like it's pretty. The access is pretty crazy too.
Yeah, back when I was quite young, there were shows like Gunsmoke and Wagon Train and all those kinds of shows, Perry Mason, those drama shows, what have you. And if you got in a show like that, the way they reran it for quite a while because people wanted to see it again and again, but there were only really 3 channels back then.
Yeah.
So it had a life in reruns. Then there became more channels and shows like Dallas and Dynasty. You knew who shot JR at some point. So you wouldn't watch an hour show in television, but half-hour shows like Seinfeld, those shows, people watch endlessly and they have a big life in syndication. So shows like St. Elsewhere, that was where it changed, and there wasn't a big life for dramatic shows in television. But I think shows like Breaking Bad break those rules. There's a big life for those kinds of shows, on Netflix and other, streaming platforms like that. Have you seen any Sally Wainwright shows? The name is Sally Wainwright. Are you aware of her at all, Petey?
No.
She did Happy Valley. She's British.
Yeah, Happy Valley, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
It's amazing.
Tango in Halifax, yeah, amazing. There's just great work being done across the pond too there in the UK. Amazing Broadchurch and these amazing shows.
But another thing too is on Netflix, there are a lot of shows from all around the world because Netflix, of course, is available in 190 countries. And I'm watching shows with the subtitles, like shows from Norway, like Ragnarok. Have you checked that out yet?
I gotta watch it. I heard that's very good.
Excellent. Like just it's just the acting. Like the acting these days is just phenomenal too. What do you think about specifically the acting? Like we're talking about the writing and the storytelling, and that's fantastic. But the acting is unbelievable these days too.
Petey, I think it is. When you think of the level of work Daniel Day-Lewis is doing, and Meryl Streep is doing, and Joaquin Phoenix is doing, I'm a fine actor. I do okay work, but I just can't imagine what it takes to do that kind of a role with these wonderful actors become, Cate Blanchett, these people, they really become the characters. It's extraordinary. And, Olivia Colman is another fine, actor there in the UK.
Did you watch Mayor of Easttown on HBO?
Oh my God, it was so brilliant.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Great. I sure did. I flipped for it.
Did you call it who the killer was?
Yeah, at the last 10 minutes, I started before they revealed it. I started to see which way they were going with that. Yeah, it was and Jean Smart, was brilliant in it too.
She's in a show called Hacks as well. That's really good too.
She's doing the best possible level of work. There's so much good. Oh, here's one you may not have seen. It's in Florida, in the Miami area. It's called Startup. Have you seen Startup?
I have not. I've heard of it though.
Buddy, give it a shot. It's really amazing. It was on, I think, just 3 or 4 seasons, but I watch all of them. I hope and pray they somehow find another life for this show because it's so good. It's really dark. It's really messed up, but it's really good.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your venture, your other ventures besides acting. How are you able to balance all of that? Like, have you found that kind of difficult? Because you said, you've been acting for a good amount of time right now, and it's a steady flow, and there's always jobs here and there. How do you balance the cleaning line companies and a lot of the advocacy for environmental? Like, how do you balance both of those? Is it hard sometimes?
I can find the time for the environmental work because that happens kind of between gigs when I'm working as an actor, but I really didn't handle it properly when I had my first cleaning product company. It was called Begley's Best. They were fine cleaning products, wonderful stuff, but I was shipping it myself out of my garage. I was picking up pallets of stuff and putting it in a storehouse in, Sun Valley here in the San Fernando Valley. And I was, kind of doing all this stuff myself, doing all the paperwork on QuickBooks. And I just went, I can't do this anymore. And so by 2008 or something, I can't remember, I folded up that company. But then a guy came along and said, look, I saw your wonderful products at Begley Best. We have another line of products that if you check out the formula, see how clean and green it is. We have it certified by EPA, designed for the environment certification, third-party certification. It's every bit as good as yours. And we'll do all the work. We'll ship it. You don't have to be shipping stuff out of your garage anymore. So I aligned myself with a company called Lab Clean, and they came up with the formulas for these wonderful products. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm promoting these great products that are every bit as clean as the one I had before. And I don't have to, be shipping in my my minutes off from work.
And are they available now? Like, could people get them now?
Go to edbegley.com, and there's a place to click and get to it, or just go do Begley cleaning, a Google search or what have you. If you're in Amazon, just type in Begley cleaning or Begley, and it'll go right to it.
Absolutely. Have you figured figured out what your favorite thing about storytelling and acting is, Ed? Like, is there one thing? Like, it might be a loaded question, but there's so many. But is there one thing that you like the most about the acting field that you can pinpoint?
Yes, I always liked, at the point when I had this kind of revelation, it was when was it? I think it was 93.
Yeah.
93 or 4, it doesn't matter. But I was working on this show called Winnetka Road, and I hired this guy, a very talented coach, an acting coach. His name was Roy London. We were working on the part. I was trying to get a little deeper into the part. And he said one day while we were working, I said, you know what I think is interesting to watch, Ed? I went, what's that? He said, I think the most interesting to watch, comedy or drama, is how a character deals with pain. He said that, Petey, and I went, what a stupid thing. Like I was, I'm in pain. Oh, I hurt. Who wants to see that? What a stupid, this guy, maybe I shouldn't have gone with him. He's not very smart. Then on the way home, I went, no, that's not what he said. I don't want to see anybody writhe in pain. He didn't say that. He said how a character deals with pain, like trying to keep the pot on the lid, like Meryl Streep, as Sophie in Sophie's Choice, trying to not show what she had been through as a mother and everything that happened to her in that movie. What people like Joaquin Phoenix did, in that wonderful thing he did, The Master, what have you.
Joker.
Those kinds of characters,
yeah.
Right, and the Joker too. He's just a brilliant, brilliant actor. It's how a character deals with pain. And that's always, and you see, that's what Jennifer Coolidge is doing. And it works for drama or comedy. It's like she's such a brilliant comedian. She's playing it not for laughs. She's playing it real, like one would play Ibsen. And it's hysterically funny and touching and wonderful because you have that kind of skill. How a character deals with pain, it's universal. That's what you want to see in a drama or in a comedy. Laurel and Hardy are carrying a piano down the stairs. And what happens? They drop the piano, Petey. And then not only do they fall, but the piano parts fall on them down the stairs. And you're laughing your ass off. It's how a character deals with pain in all those old movies or new ones. It's very interesting. It's a universal rule.
I love that. And to add to that, too, I find it kind of funny because getting back to White Lotus, Jennifer Coolidge, do you find it also interesting as well, too, where, you watch a show and you're like, oh, I can't stand this character. It's a dislikable character. I mean, that's the point. Like, that's the character. Like that, they kind of want you to say that. Like, they would. Like you're not supposed to like the antagonists. You know what I mean?
Right. You're definitely not supposed to like Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker or in The Master or any of these wonderful movies he did or in Gladiator. He's anything but heroic. But he plays it not as a bad guy. He plays it as a guy who gets up every day. And the Joker, in his mind, is trying to fix the world. And that's what makes it so chilling. That's what makes Robert De Niro so great in Taxi Driver and as Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull. He's not trying to be a bad guy. He's trying to be a good guy. And there was many people have played the worst person in many lifetimes, which is Adolf Hitler. But Anthony Hopkins, the great actor Anthony Hopkins, played him in the 80s in a TV movie. It was called The Bunker. And it was the most chilling Hitler I'd ever seen portrayed because he didn't portray him as a crazy man, which he, of course, was. He portrayed him as a guy who thought he was trying to save the world every day. And it was chilling and the best portrayal I'd ever seen of it. And that's what these great actors do. You don't make them out to be the bad guy. You present the behavior, whatever it is, a historical figure or a fictional character. And it's quite compelling if you play it, where the person thinks they're in the right. It's chilling.
I'm sure it's happened sometimes, but you haven't played the antagonist that many times, right, Ed?
No, I play some pretty flawed characters, but I'm not always the bad guy.
Not the bad guy, yeah. They have flaws for sure, yeah.
Yeah, Ehrlich on St. Elsewhere, that character on that show, he was highly flawed, but he wasn't really a bad guy, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on Popternative and chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on, Petey. You're very nice to talk to, and I hope I talk to you again.
Absolutely. So yeah, can you plug away again very quickly? They could check out the cleaning products right now, your website as well, and any social media. Plug away, Ed. Yeah,
go to Ed Begley. Just type in Ed Begley at Twitter, and you'll see the little blue mark there. It's Ed Begley Jr. I think I should know my own Twitter handle, but I don't. But or go to edbegley.com, and it has all that anyway. And so. Yeah, check it out. At Amazon, that's where we sell most of our cleaning products, and it's good stuff, and we'll ship some right away.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Ed Begley Jr. and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.